Great. Well,
Nice.
welcome all. We just wanted to say that Josie and I have been thrilled to have this opportunity to showcase our community network experts in a field that this is in a very challenging time with such important subjects that affect all of us. We are grateful for their talent and the support and belief in the Women Mean Business Network. And in addition, we thank all our guests that have joined us over the past weeks, our loyal supporters, and many new community guests that are exploring Women Mean Business. We look forward to meeting you all and seeing you in person very soon. Just some housekeeping notes. As always, please keep your mics muted in the presentation. There'll be a Q&A after the presentation is completed. And please use the group chat area that's next to your screen for those questions. Should we have a Zoom bomber enter this delightful presentation, please note we will exit the presentation very immediately. But rest assured, Zoom has really cranked up their security over the last weeks because everybody seems to be using it. So let's get on with the show. And Josie, would you like to introduce Michelle?
I do. Actually, it is my pleasure to formally introduce to you Michelle Deschenes, dietary technologist. Michelle has worked for over 20 years as a dietary technologist in hospitals all over Canada. Michelle has founded ACE Nutrition and Diet Consulting in 2012. She believes in real nutrition from real food, and all food fits, including cheesecake. So I'm really excited about that. She wants to take the fight out of food without deprivation. It's her belief that the more tailor-made the nutrition plan, the more successful and sustainable it will be for life, and that is true. After all, eating is one of the greatest pleasures of life. ACE Nutrition is physician approved and was awarded the Regional Health Professional of the Year by Diabetes Canada. If you have a love-hate relationship with your food and you are craving change, ACE Nutrition is Kingston's certified specialist. And also, Michelle is very kindly sharing with us nutritional resources, which we're going to have in our newsletter this week and also up on our website. So, my dear, all yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well today. Thank you, Gabby and Josie, for bringing us together. This is such a wonderful idea. ACE Nutrition is actually seeing clients virtually now, and this is a great opportunity for us today to connect and learn a few things. So, like it was said earlier, ACE Nutrition specializes in tailor-made nutrition plans. And the interesting thing is that more and more in my practice, I'm getting questions on menu planning. So what I was thinking for 3 goals for today is that we would go over some tips for optimal nutrition and health. We would go over some easy menu planning ideas and some strategies to curb our cravings, because these are really challenging times right now. And what better time? Exactly. So to start off with, what I really love is, I love the thought of you sitting down with me in my office, sitting on the couch, and here we're talking about optimal nutrition. So I want to give you a few tips that I normally would give basically every client that comes to my office. The first thing I always say is that carbs really are your best friend. And that might seem really odd to people, especially when we consider all the social media, what we're hearing about the keto diet and all the success that people are having with these high diets. Whereas in fact, if you introduce more carbs into your nutrition, you will have more energy. And this is the truth, that you're not meant to get your energy from protein. You're meant to get your energy from carbohydrates. So I think that's one of the biggest messages that I want to get across today is, number one, carbs are your best friend. and it's really your best source of energy. So what we want to look at is introducing more complex carbohydrates into our nutrition on a daily basis. So the difference between the complex carbohydrates and the simple carbohydrates are that the complex carbohydrates comes from your grains and your breads and your cereals. And what happens is they have a low glycemic index, so they digest slowly and long, and you get this long-term energy. Whereas when we have those cravings and we're looking for something like potato chips or reaching for cookies or candies or cakes, that what happens is we end up on this roller coaster ride because our blood sugars raise and then they plummet, and it's a vicious cycle. So complex carbs are our best friend. The fact is that with protein, we really, I wanted to bring this deck of cards to show you, we really only need 2 decks of protein or 2 decks of cards of total protein in one day. For the average women, I'm talking. So when we put the deck of cards on the palm of our hand, it's a really good visual. It's the palm of our hand. So when we think, when we're having dinner, about that deck of cards being our portion size, that's really golden. It's a golden rule. So if you have 1 deck at dinner, then the other deck of cards that we need can be dispersed between our breakfast and our lunch. So you can see it's about 3 ounces, 75 grams. It's not a lot. So I think this is a big misconception that we have. Now, when we talk about my favorite carbs, I just want to show you a couple things quickly, because we're going to be referring to some of these items also when we do our menu planning. This, I wanted to say, is one of my favorite, absolutely favorite carbs. I have cashew cereal almost every day. I love the Golean Crunch. It's really a good, significant source of soy protein, and it's a great complex carb and also really high in fiber. I love to have it, not necessarily always just as cereal with milk, but I like to layer it up when I'm making like a yogurt parfait with some Greek yogurt and some frozen fruit, because it really makes it easy. The other thing, oh my gosh, I have to show you this. I just discovered this at Food Basics last time I was there. And they're really breakfast pitas. They're so fantastic. They have different flavors. This is apple cinnamon. And all you need is 1. They're just like, you pop them in the toaster. And they're just lovely. All you need is 1 of these for breakfast with a little bit of yogurt, maybe some fresh fruit. Ideal, absolutely ideal. The other thing I want to show you, and we're going to be talking about this too, is Uncle Ben's 7 grains. It's my favorite. I like to mix it in with my rice. It has barley, oats, spelt, rye, and wild rice. So it's very dense. Again, very good complex carbs. So I mix this with my rice, and it just gives you really good staying power. It's wonderful. Okay, so I can't stress enough how carbs really are your major source of energy. When I think about the top tips that I give my clients for energy, what I think about is, I think about the new Canada Food Guide. And hopefully all of you have been exposed to it and you've seen it. It's actually really simple. It's actually just a plate. I hope you can see that really well. And as a visual, you can see the plate is half fruits and vegetables, and the other half is divided between grains and protein. So that makes it really, really simple. It's not complicated by serving sizes, but it really gives a simple way of thinking about what optimal nutrition is. So what I want to do is I want to review the top tips that I give to my clients for energy. I want to talk about easy meal planning ideas and strategies to curb our cravings for optimal nutrition. So these are my 3 goals for today. When I think about my top tips for energy, it also includes this food guide. So number 1, one of my big rules is no skipping meals. You have to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. A real meal, when you think about the food guide, a real meal is something from each of these food groups. So it's not a real meal, it's not breakfast, lunch, or dinner if it doesn't have a grain, a small amount of protein, and a fruit or vegetable. So that's a really quick check. I do this every meal. I think to myself, okay, do I have something from each of the food groups? It's really great to keep me on track. So the 3rd golden rule that I have is all foods fit, even cheesecake. So it's not about deprivation, like we said. It's about focusing on good nutrition most of the time, but realizing that food really is one of our greatest pleasures in life. So we have to have variety, but we really have to also enjoy our food. And food really brings us together, especially now. During these challenging times, we're probably doing more food preparation at home. We're probably eating less prepackaged foods. Hopefully we're taking the time to introduce our children, if we have children at home, to new cooking skills. And that's where I'm really thinking that these easy meal ideas are going to be really great. Something that are individual ideas that your whole family will enjoy, really quick and easy. So we have the food guide to give us guidance. We have the 3 golden rules, and we know that what we need to do is we need to focus on those complex carbohydrates for increased energy. And in fact, you need at least 50 to 60% of your total calories from carbs. And the 2 small decks of protein for women, this is for women, really only compromise about 15 to 20% of our total calories. So that's a really important thing to keep in mind. Now, we're going to be taking questions, so if you have any questions, write them down. And don't forget, at the very end, we're going to be taking some questions. So I really want to give you all the information that you're looking for today. I thought that on the sheet that I shared with you, the handout that you're going to receive as a gift has all my top favorite apps and websites where I go when I am thinking about menu planning ideas. So you will be receiving this later as a gift, and you'll see at the very bottom of one of the sheets, there's reference to the Chipotle method. Now, I just discovered this about 6 months ago, and it is fantastic. It gives you really easy menu ideas and ways that you can put combinations of food together. And it's so fascinating because really all total, you can put together over 40,000 combinations. So it can be very personalized and really easy. And you can really have fun with it. That's the part that I really like. Now, with the Chipotle method, basically what they have is 4 different bases. So it's based on what you look at, first of all, is the base. And the base, what we're going to do, for example, here is we're going to have pasta as our base. salad as our base. We are going to create a bowl. And when we mean a bowl, we know this is really trending now in restaurants. When you go to Freshie or Copper Branch, they layer everything up and it looks really nice and it's very nutritious. And then the last one we're going to do is going to be a wrap. So what the Chipotle method does is that it has one of these 4 bases, and then it has a huge variety of fillings. Now, I just put a few here, a few samples. But of course, the fillings could be either greens, quite a number of greens. I mean, if you think about sprouts, or you could buy a bag of shredded cabbage and carrots together. What we want to do is keep it really simple, keeping it seasonal, and knowing what's in the flyers, or when you get to the store and you see what's on sale. Variety is really the key. So you know what your family really enjoys. If you go with that, you will have more variety. And it's wonderful to see what's in the grocery store that's seasonal, those vegetables. So we have greens, we can have sprouts, a variety of grains. Again, we can have noodles, we can have pasta, we can have mixed grains like the Uncle Ben's 7-grain rice. And then the other filling is the legumes. So we can think about, I have black beans here, but what we can think about is chickpeas or mixed beans, peas, lentils. The other category for the fillings is veggies. So that's limitless. You know how many vegetables we have, especially in Canada. So that's how we can come up with 40,320 variations of this simple, easy meal planning ideas with this method. It's just so fantastic. I'm so thrilled about it. And the thing is that the whole method is actually based more on plant-based cooking and plant-based ideas. And the new food guide, that's one thing that they are really trying to emphasize, is to incorporate more plant-based nutrition. So here we go. What I want to do is I'm going to show you with these 4 bases. What we're going to do is we're going to add 2 or 3 fillings, and then in the end, the wow factor. This is the exciting part, the wow factor, which actually adds a lot of nutrition boosting capabilities. I love it, love it. So simply, what we can do is start with the pasta. So that's our base. We can add 2 fillings. We could add maybe some peppers to our pasta. We can add maybe a little bit of onion. That's 2. But maybe we want to add, for a little protein, some beans or chickpeas. There we go. There's 3 different fillings. Now, the wow factor. I think what would be really fun for a little bit of wow would be maybe some walnuts. And often some of the wow factor actually is the filling or the sauces. So with the pasta being a little bit dry, you might want to add some oil and vinegar. And the other thing I really think is really fun and delicious is a little bit of pesto. So we can really just toss that up, and there you go. There's a delicious pasta. And it's fast and easy. You could do it hot or cold. You could do it hot or cold. A lot of variety, a lot of options. Now the second one, the base, is a salad. So again, you can put, for filling, any number of veggies. So I have carrots cut up, and you can see how you can individualize this. Some onions. Maybe you have people in your family that don't like green onions. Maybe they like mushrooms, so we'll add a few mushrooms to that. Oh, some grains. I would love to sprinkle a little bit of grains on top too, to boost up the carbohydrate level of it, maybe some beans. There we go. Now, the interesting thing is, when you think about the base, I also wanted to talk about the portion for the base. A good rule of thumb is 1 cup. So all you need is a 1 cup measuring cup, and it's fantastic. A cup of greens, boom, your base. A cup of pasta, cooked, that's your base. So especially for women, if you just think about that as your base, that 1 cup measure, it's perfect size. So there you go. Now there's our second meal together. You can see how you can personalize it. And when you personalize it, how easy it is to get those combinations. It's endless possibilities. Okay, the third one would be a bowl. Now the bowl, it can be really beautiful. You can layer it up. Oh my goodness. We forgot about the wow factor. Wow. Okay. So for the salad, of course, a little dressing probably. Now, if you like spice, maybe you might want to put a little bit of hot sauce, right? The wow factor also is about adding the nutrition booster. So you might want to put a little bit of ground flax on top. There's the wow factor. We can't forget about that. That's the third step. Now, what you can do is with the bowl, what I wanted to do when I start out with the bowl in the bottom, I started with my 7 grains, Uncle Ben's 7 grains, because I wanted good complex carbs in the bottom. I may actually want to, for my filling, add some greens. I might want to add some legumes. Maybe you have chickpeas. You can layer this up really nicely. You could put a layer of carrots on. You can put it in an individual bowl so you can actually see what it would look like if it was layered up. You could see how lovely the different colors would be. And then the wow factor. So here's another really great sauce. Maybe some hummus, roasted red pepper hummus. That's going to be a great wow factor. And, let's see, some nuts on top. There you go. There's another great option. There's your bowl. You could toss it all up, or you can leave it in layers, nice layers. I think the kids actually would really love to do this. Now, children also like to create their own wraps. I know in my family, everybody always said, oh, when are we gonna have tacos? When are we gonna have tacos? So you could have a soft shell taco or a tortilla, same idea, right? So your base is the tortilla shell, right? Or wrap. And then again, filling, you can put a couple fillings on top. One thing that's really fantastic for a filling, a great combination, is the rice and black beans. Very common in burrito wraps. You might want to put a little bit of avocado. Yum. That would be really fantastic, tasty. Maybe some pumpkin seeds. That's actually more of a nutritional booster. That's the wow factor. Now, the other thing too with the wrap, you don't want it to be too dry, but you don't want it to be too soggy. So you wouldn't probably go with salad dressing. You might go with, maybe for a wow factor, hot sauce, right? Or salsa. See, there's a lot of options here that I don't have, but salsa would be fantastic. And then that's all you have to do is just roll it up, just like you would do. And there you go. See? It's easy, it's fun, so many options, very personalized, and it's so convenient, very convenient. So again, look for that at the very bottom of your cheat sheet so that you can see the Chipotle method. You can Google it. It's just fantastic. It's a game changer, I think. Now, I hope you're keeping your questions ready because I really want to answer your questions at the end. I do want to address one thing, because we know, especially during these challenging times, that our cravings are really getting in the way of us being focused on good nutrition. And this is one thing that I want to address. So since I am the craving change specialist for the city of Kingston, I wanted to tell you about a really simple techniques. Well, actually maybe a couple techniques. But even just understanding that the way our cravings work, the way they work is that, you know, you might be bored or agitated, or just even really stressed about the situation that we're in right now. We're very housebound. The fridge is so convenient. So what I really have to emphasize is that we really need to make sure we're not skipping meals. And we actually, it would be in our best interest if we scheduled our breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so we knew when to expect and to anticipate that. Now, as soon as you start skipping meals, your cravings are going to get the better of you. They will. So the way it happens is emotionally, our cravings start getting the better of us, and they build, right? It's like the switch goes off and we get this, the build-up of stress and the stress cortisols, which actually physiologically it's happening to us. So know that it's not your fault. It's really happening in your brain. And the stress goes up, up, up. It triggers the reward center in your brain. Your brain says to your stomach, hey, remember, if I have something to eat right now, I'm going to feel really good. And my stress cortisols will come down, down, down. So this is the self-talk that's going on in your head, right? So what do I do? When I get these cravings, the first thing I think to myself is, halt. Just take a deep breath here. Then what I say is, am I really hungry? Is this stomach hunger? When did I have my last meal? Oh my gosh, I just had lunch an hour ago. Am I really hungry? No, it's not stomach hunger. My stomach is definitely not growling, right? So what is it? It's actually what we call mouth hunger. You're looking for something sweet or salty or tangy or crunchy. We all have our favorite things that we crave, right? But when we realize that physiologically what's happening in our brain, and we realize that as our cravings build, they build fast and furious. But guess what? It only stays up high for 10, 15 minutes. Eventually those cravings are going to come down, down, down. So the first thing, we recognize, what kind of craving do I have? What kind of hunger do I have? If it's not your stomach that's hungry, then it's emotional eating. So once we recognize that and we halt, then we can use a distraction strategy to ride that wave out. And remember, all we have to do is find something to do for 15 minutes, okay? So it might be calling a friend, right? It might be going and cleaning the bathtub. It might be organizing my sock drawer. I might say to myself, okay, I'm just going to go and do my nails for 15 minutes and then I'll see how I feel then. So the trick is really to put those cravings off for about 15 minutes or so, to ride that wave, and then hopefully you can beat that craving. You'll get the better of the wave and you'll get the better of the craving. The craving won't get the best of you. So those are some of my top tips for strategically thinking about curbing your cravings, is understanding what kind of hunger it is, halting, and then finding maybe a 15-minute task that you can do to distract yourself. We call this distraction technique. Now, I think what's really super cool is if you kept a running list on your fridge just of some things that you want to accomplish that day that don't take a large amount of time, such as cleaning your bathtub, right? So that's really, really helpful. The other thing I want to show you, because I think this is just so fascinating, is I saw this the other day on Instagram. And this mother, what she had done is she had made 3 snack jars. And I totally love this concept. I hope you can see this. But the whole concept is, at the beginning of the day, what you do is you decide what you're going to have for your snacks. So not only are you saying to yourself to have a plan for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but what you're saying is, I'm going to have planned snacks. And what you might say is, oh, what's a good time to have a planned snack? Maybe 10 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and maybe 7 o'clock in the evening after dinner. So when you have those designated times, it's like you have a better plan. And when you have a better plan for your snacks, you're going to have better nutrition, right? Because if you're choosing fresh fruits, vegetables, right, you're going to have the added nutrition bonus of eating food that's healthier for you, full of vitamins, energy, minerals, antioxidants, all those things that are so good for you. And you're going to feel better rather than reaching for those empty calories that have no nutrition whatsoever, like chips and candy. So make your snack jars up. If you have children, you can even label their names on the jars. And what I like for my snack jar is fundamentally what I start with is some fruits and vegetables. So what I did was in the beginning is I chose 3 fruits. So I've got a kiwi, a plum, and a little clementine. So there's 3 fruit, a little package of cut up veggies. They're all ready to go for me. Cucumbers, carrots, you could use celery sticks, cherry tomatoes, right? Now the other thing is, I put a tea bag in there to remind myself that if I just sat down and had a cup of tea, maybe I'm not even hungry at all. Maybe I'm thirsty. Maybe I just need to relax. Give a chance for those stress cortisols to come down, distract me for 10 minutes, and realize I'm not even hungry, right? It's actually mouth hunger. So I put a tea bag in each of them, and we know green tea actually has great properties in it, that the green tea will actually help us curb our cravings too. The other thing I want to tell you about is popcorn. Popcorn is brilliant. I actually have this phrase that I coined called the popcorn effect. And the brilliant thing about popcorn is, number 1, a serving of popcorn is actually 2 whole cups. So 2 cups of popcorn is equal to 1 slice of bread. So you can eat popcorn guilt-free. If you're getting the microwave popcorn, I would suggest you look and see what the fat content is of it so that you can compare brands. Of course, air popping is probably the best way to go. That way, if you want to melt a little basil or put some Parmesan cheese for flavoring on it, you can control that. Now, back to the popcorn effect. The cool thing about the popcorn is that you eat them one at a time, and you chew it and you swallow it one at a time. Okay? Now, what's happening is you're riding the wave. Really, when you think about it, how long is it going to take for you to eat a bag of 2 cups of popcorn? It's going to take you probably 15 minutes. If one at a time, you eat those kernels one at a time, that's what you're doing. You're riding the wave. So what's happening is your stress cortisols are coming down, down, down. You get that awe feeling, this just sense of relief, right? So you're really feeding your stomach and your brain at the same time. So I love the thought of popcorn in my snack jar. Now the other snack jar I have, again, fundamentally what I did was I started out with 3 fruits, apple, orange, and kiwi this time. I've got my cut up peppers and cucumbers for my veggies, so they're good to go. Now, one of my favorite things I have to share with you, this is a really new favorite thing. I love these brand crunchies. Now, I discovered them in the hospital actually because this is one thing they like to give for snacks sometimes, for cookies. They're really high in fiber. And what I do is I just put a layer of peanut butter and sandwich 2 cookies together. It is brilliant, melts in your mouth. I love it, love it. And a little bit of protein, it'll digest slow and long. It'll curb your cravings and make you feel really good. Now, the other thing I put in here is these. Love these, totally recommend these. Wheat thin sweet potatoes. They're brilliant. The reason I say that is they're everything. They're sweet, they're salty, they're crunchy, they're like your potato chip alternatives. And they're low in fat, and one serving is 13 of these crackers. They're really small. They're so tasty. They're actually low in sodium too, and low in sugar. But the cool thing is you can actually break them, right, in little pieces, and you can have the popcorn effect with these crackers. And like I said, they're just like potato chips, only better. They're so good for you. So there you have it. You have my top tips for good energy. You have strategies to curb your cravings. You have the winning Chipotle method that gives you such a great variety of menu meal planning ideas that your whole family is going to love. It's simple, it's easy. What we really need is easy, convenient nutrition. And sometimes when we have the best ideas right there at our fingertips, then we're not reaching for things. So sometimes it's not about the willpower, it's more about the convenience and the availability of what is there in plain sight, like the bowl of fruit on the counter, or like the snack jar, because you go to that. You're not opening up the fridge and having to say halt all the time. You know exactly what your snacks are going to be for the day. So I hope that you have found this as enjoyable as I have. I'm hoping that if you want to connect with me on my socials, that you will go to my website, acenutrition.ca. And I want to thank you for joining us. I really, really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
Well, Michelle, thank you. Awesome, awesome tips. I mean, I got to go out grocery shopping again. But no, honestly, I also think with what we're going through, is the emotional eating as well, those triggers. So understanding those triggers and replacing what you indicated today, which is great insight. So I'm going to read you some of the comments so you can hear. So the first one was from Kasia, and it says, "May I come for a curb pickup of lunch?"
Yes, I have so much food.
Thank you. Marlene said very individualized meals, which is a great concept. From Laura from All Care, it says chips with a question mark, exclamation mark, chips. So I guess you're going to be replacing that a bit, eh, Laura?
That's where the wheat thins. Try the wheat thins.
Wheat thins. There you go.
Do you know what? I found out recently I've got a gluten intolerance, so it's like this whole world of food has closed down to me. So that's another question if you have time. Do you have any gluten-free suggestions?
Michelle?
Okay, if I could address this. The thing about being gluten-free is that when you get back to the basics and you think about those food groups, and we know that half of our nutrition should be fruits and vegetables. So here's a really great tip. It's very much like the popcorn effect, is that what I always say to my clients is make up 6 or 8 baggies like this with the vegetables. So you can have cherry tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers. But when you're looking for that munching effect to bring your stress cortisols down, take all the things in your little baggie and cut it up into little pieces, just bite-sized pieces, so you can get that popcorn effect. You can get crunch from your celery. So think about what vegetables you really, really love and put them into little bite size, and know that half of your nutrition should be from fruits or vegetables. You could do that with an apple, cut it up in little pieces. That will help bring your stress levels down immensely.
Very good. Hold on here. One question we got from Kasia is, how do I make popcorn in the pot without burning it?
Oh, when you're making it. I think doing this recently, actually, I think it has to do with the amount of oil that you put in the bottom. So, and you cook it fast and furious. And as soon as the kernels stop, as soon as you can hear it when they slow down, but you have to take it off the burner really quick, right? So start with a low, like a canola oil that doesn't smoke really readily. And make sure the whole bottom of the pot is just totally covered with like the canola oil or sunflower oil that you're using. And as soon as the popping slows down, that's when you're going to start take it right off of the burner.
Okay, so hold on. Okay, Michelle, Lori Sweet says, Michelle, so wonderful to hear from you. She was very impressed. I'm also hungry after exercise. Any tips? This is from Diane Gaberson.
Oh, this is actually a very, very important point. Very important. Because it's really within 1 hour of when you exercise. It's really important to have that recovery nutrition. And you should think about this as part of your regular nutrition. Never something that you should skip. So the recovery nutrition, the best thing is you should have a carbohydrate and a protein together. So something like peanut butter and the Bran Crunchies. One of my favorite go-to thing is I have my cashew cereal and Greek yogurt, because it's really brilliant source of protein, and you have the carbohydrates for that long staying power, and you need the protein for your muscles for recovery. So always think about pairing the protein and the carbs together.
Very important. Very good point. It's a good question. Here, let me just go through it. What makes a carb complex, and how is it better than a regular carb? I think you addressed that at the beginning, didn't you, Michelle?
Yeah, a little bit. When you think about complex carbohydrates, you think about the difference between simple carbohydrates and complex. So the whole grains, that's what you're looking for. The whole grains will digest slower and longer because the glycemic index is lower, and it'll keep you fuller longer and curb your cravings. But when you have things like, believe it or not, rice cakes, please don't eat rice cakes, because rice cakes, we think of them as dieting foods, but they're just like potato chips. What it does is it raises your blood sugars really quickly, and then it's like almost like a simple sugar. It's not really a sugar, but everything breaks down, right, into glucose. So what you want is more whole grains. Think about breads and cereals versus potato chips or cake.
Okay, another comment here from Diane. She said she purchased a silicone pot for microwave, and it doesn't use oil. Awesome popcorn. So Tasha, that's a, you know, so a silicone pot for your popcorn needs.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, Pampered Chef has a great microwave popcorn maker. Hold on here. I've heard a lot of people say fasting helps them lose weight, but you said to never miss a meal. Do you think there is any benefit to fasting? And this is from Laura from All Care.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. My golden rule is not to skip meals. My other golden rule is that we really need to eat our food. So no shakes, no smoothies. You are going to be fuller, longer, and let your food be broken down in your stomach when you're eating real food, number one. Number two, this whole intermittent fasting, it's like riding your vehicle on low on empty gas, right? It's just, we want constant energy, and I don't really believe in skipping meals. You're setting yourself up for having more emotional eating too. It's not a good strategy.
I love what you said about mouth hunger. Great point there, my dear.
Thank you.
The other one, let me see here, from Diane. How about the Mediterranean diet? Is that an extra meal or, yeah?
You know, I guess what I was saying about the extra meals, Michelle, when after exercising, do you add extra food to your diet to get more carbs and protein in?
Okay. So when I think about where do I get my carbs from? So when you think about your plate, you get your carbs from your grains, your breads, and your cereals naturally. And you also get your carbohydrates from your fruits and vegetables. So naturally, this is 3/4 of our plate. So if we're eating something from each of the food groups and keeping our protein to a minimum, automatically, the food guide automatically is going to be giving us what we need, at least 50% of our nutrition from carbohydrates, when we're not steering away from it. Now, I think the other question was about when you're adding the recovery food from exercise, just think about that as a snack. That's what I would do, right? And then of course it depends on what time of day it is. If you exercise just before lunch, you don't need that recovery food. Lunch is your recovery food, right? So it depends on the timing. And in terms of the Mediterranean diet, brilliant. This is actually, in some way, the direction that Health Canada is trying to put us in this direction, so that we're eating more vegetarian meals. And the Mediterranean diet is more fruit, vegetables, fish, healthy fats. This is brilliant. I really, of all the diets that are out there, besides the one that I would create for you if you came to see me, yeah, I would say number one, all those keto diets and protein-based diets are so high in saturated fat, it's a heart attack waiting to happen. So I would not recommend that. I would say the DASH diet, or the Mediterranean diet is really high in fruits and vegetables, low in sodium, low in saturated fat, and the healthy fats. That's what we really need to focus on too.
All right. And there's another one question here. Please confirm the total amount of protein daily, 3 or 6 ounces.
Oh, okay. When we think about the deck of cards, it's 3 ounces per deck, and we need 2 decks a day. So really 6 ounces.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, in general, that's what we say for women, right? But keep in mind too, if you just have your plate and you think a little bit of protein, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, this is a good visual to say to yourself, at dinner, you only need a deck size of protein. When you're thinking about animal protein. Now, I really strongly encourage more vegetarian options. This is really the way to go, because if you're trying to have more weight loss, if you at least have a meatless Monday, if for 2 or 3 days in the week you can say to yourself, I'm going to have more vegetarian meals these days, then you're not only going to probably have more vitamins, minerals, a good nutrition, but you're going to have less saturated fat. It's really the fat that's sabotaging us, and that animal protein has saturated fat in it.
Very good point. Here's a question. I don't want to gain a COVID-15. How do I come out of this 15 pounds lighter? I think you've answered a lot of those questions already today.
Yeah. That's what I would say. The key is that think about your plate, don't skip meals, something from each of those food groups, and try to plan your snacks.
Perfect. Are there any other questions at this point? I think, Michelle, it was excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I was going to ask you, are you going to be starting up your Craving Change workshops again once this is all over on Saturdays?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Good.
I teach it individually to people individually, or if you have a girlfriend that you want to get together, 2 or 3 of you, come to my office. I am the Craving Change specialist for the city of Kingston, and we have our own workbooks that we work through. It's very comprehensive and very effective.
Fabulous. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
Yes, and I just wanted to mention, Lard, we're going to have a little bit of a party online this week on Thursday, just to lighten our moods. There's enough, we need some levity as well. So, and talking about food, we're going to have wine with Peely Island Winery going to be online with us. Mike McKenzie, the owner of Siege Sausage in Sharbert Lake, is going to be with us, and that's going to be some meat. Sorry, Michelle. And and we're going to have some song with Julia Moore. She's an artist and singer here in Kingston. So, and that's Thursday at 4 p.m.
No, this Thursday.
This Thursday. No, I know. This Thursday at 4 p.m. And registrations are still open. And just to mention about registrations, I even appreciate we're planning well ahead here. So we would appreciate if all registrations could come in at 5 o'clock the latest, the day before the Zoom call. We just don't want to miss out on someone missing out on a presentation. So there's a lot of emails that come back and forth. We have a lot that we're doing between Josie and our offices here. So if you're registering, if you can make it, please register before 5 o'clock the day before the event. So that's this Thursday, the 23rd at 4 o'clock, and hope you can join us. It'll be just a really fun time to get together. And if you have a party hat, wear it. Josie, you can talk about our Catherine for next week.
Yeah. Just a quick heads up. Next Tuesday, which is the 28th of April, again at 10:30 a.m. We're very pleased this time to showcase Catherine Bell, owner of Prime Impressions, as our host presenter. Catherine is going to be talking about crushing video conferencing, key strategies to convey a professional presence virtually. So please do join us. That should be a very interesting presentation as well. So again, Michelle, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to using a lot of your tips, especially the bowl.
Yes.
Can't wait to do that. And yeah, and everybody, listen, thank you so much for joining and have an amazing week.
Thank you. It was great, Michelle. Big hug to all. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Take care.